What is up, everybody? Renfail here. Hopefully you are doing well. I just wrapped the Order of Giants DLC for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and wanted to do a little review on it. This is not spoiler free, so if you're wanting something spoiler free, you're not going to find it here. This is a very short DLC. I think I'm reading on the internet people are doing it between 4.5 and 6 hours. I was right at 5 hours. I was not trying to do a completionist version. I just sort of went and played. I also did this as a add-on, so I just did a full second playthrough of the game about 3 weeks ago to sort of refamiliarize myself with the controls. And as a result, I went into this sort of with a maxed out character, so I had all my disguises. I already had all my health bonuses, all my stamina regeneration bonuses, all the extra whip abilities, and everything else. So I think that definitely contributed to this, going through because it was sort of, I would say, easy. Whereas if you were to go through this on, I think if you, because this is essentially your starter for this is in Venice when you're here at the beginning of the game. So the very first place you come in the base game is where you find the priest that starts the DLC. So you can actually do this as part of your main adventure going through. So it's, given the fact that it's 4 to 6 hours long, it's kind of like one of those little side missions, side stories you can do. Um, Very well done, as always. Troy Baker deserves to win all sorts of awards for his work. It's indistinguishable for Harrison Ford in terms of the motion capture and voiceovers and everything. Um, the DLC is jam packed with classical Indiana Jones dialogue and quips and a little bit of humor sprinkled in throughout, and of course, lots and lots of puzzle solving. There were some really, really good puzzles in this one. There were three in particular that took me like around 30 minutes to complete. There were some really big puzzles in here. Um, I didn't find. I'm pretty sure there was supposed to like two new adventure books in the DLC. I did not find those, but again, I wasn't trying to do a completionist version, so I just went through. Um, the story is relatively straightforward. It's more Nephilim, and you are essentially seeking out the Order of Giants and following the journey of these characters through the Crusades. And the puzzle solving is going to be all about sort of following those characters and paying attention to their journey. World building is phenomenal. It was really short and sweet. And I think this is a great addition to the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle experience. I would love them to add more like this. It feels a lot like, for those of you who played Star Wars Outlaws, the Star Wars Outlaws DLCs were about the same, like 4.5 to 6 hours long. I think maybe 8 if you're playing on hardcore difficulty. So this is definitely in that same vein of just little add-ons that enhance the journey, but don't necessarily overwrite anything, and they can be done at any point along the way, whether it's on your way through your first playthrough or after the fact. After you've done your initial playthrough, you can come back to Venice, find the priest, and start the quest. The last boss fight in particular was kind of fun because it was a little challenging because it wasn't just about using your fists or guns or anything like that. It was more along the lines of there's a specific mechanic. I don't want to spoil it here, but there's a mechanic that you have to do, which took me a little bit of figuring out through the fight. But that was fun. There's one puzzle in particular that stuck out to me as just a really fun puzzle. You'll know when you get to it, but there's essentially this floor that has interchangeable parts, and there's like a tube, and there's a big statue in the middle. There's 4 statues around the side, and when you pull the trigger, a flaming ball drops out of the main statue and starts going along these pipes. And you've got these 3 pieces that you can use to put into these areas on the floor to help make the ball go around a corner or go straight through and connect to other pipes. And your objective is to get the flaming ball to go around the base and through all these tubes and go through each one of the other statues to light those statue bases on fire. And if you miss one of the turnoffs, or you don't put a place You don't put a piece in place in time, the ball will drop down and get extinguished, and you have to do it all over again. That puzzle was the highlight, I think, of my favorite puzzle in the game. There was also there was a bunch of really good puzzles here, and of course, lots of whip cracking and swinging and adventuring. Great time. Had a great adventure with it. Absolutely recommend this. This was one of my Game of the Year choices for last year. Was Indiana Jones: The Great Circle, and the Order of Giants fits right in. Par for the course. Love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. More games coming. This is the day job, so we'll see you next time, everybody. YouTube and Twitch. Have fun out there.